Hey everybody, welcome back to Newegg TV. I'm Steve, and today I'm going to do an overview on these three Wi-Fi cable modem routers from Netgear. These are the N300, N450, and N600 models. Okay, let's start by comparing all three Wi-Fi cable modem routers. We have the N300, that's model number C3700-100NAS, the N450 model, that's model number N450-100NAS, and the N600 model, that's model number C3100NAS. And each of them have at least 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, with the exception of the 450, which actually has 4. So all three offer Wi-Fi connectivity at varying speeds, which we'll get into later. The 450 doesn't support live parental controls feature or the Netgear Genie app, but the C3700 and the C3000 both do. They all three support IPv6 as part of Docsis 3 compliance. And speaking of Docsis 3, each one of these cable modems are Docsis 3.0 certified. Now, depending on your cable provider and data plan, you might be required to use a Docsis 3 cable modem, particularly if you have a high-speed data plan. The good news is that 3.0 is backwards compatible with 2.0, so either way, this could replace your current modem. Now, I should mention that some cable telephone services use special telephony-capable cable modems, so consult your cable provider to make sure that you can replace yours with one of these and possibly save you a little bit monthly as well. Okay, so let's start off here on the N300, which is the C3000 model. Now, this particular model is 802.11n gigabit capable, meaning you're going to have gigabit ports on the inside that we'll show you in just a moment. On the wireless side, we're looking at 300 megabits per second maximum theoretical throughput. And just to keep things clear, because it's Docsis based model, meaning it is data over cable services interface specification, it's only for cable modems, only for cable providers. So they're giving you a list here of the like, and looking at Cablevision, Charter, Cox, and so on. So keep that in mind. This is only for cable-based data. So if you're using DSL or something other than a cable provider, then you're not going to be able to use this particular device. A little bit more information here in terms of the technical specs and security. I just wanted to show you briefly. Of course, all of them do come with a firewall, both SPI and NAT-based. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and flip it around to the back here and show you guys a little bit more information on the back. There's just only a couple things I actually wanted to mention. You feel free to pause the video and read the back if you like. I just wanted to mention the fact that in terms of sharing, it is DLNA certified, so therefore it's going to be able to share your video and your music amongst other DLNA compatible devices in your household, including TVs and game consoles. It's also ReadyShare. It also uses ReadyShare USB access, so it can share some of your files easily off of a hard drive or a USB flash drive to anything else on your network. So keep that in mind as well. All right, guys, so here's the stuff that comes inside the box. I'm going to start with the paperwork. They have a general public license. On top of that, they also have the package contents as well as the installation guide here. I'm just going to open that slightly to give you kind of an idea of what's inside. Pretty basic stuff, but it is there, as well as a telephone number, as well as other information for how you can get your cable modem set up, because you actually do have to contact them and give them the MAC address so it can all be set up on their particular network. Then you do get a Ethernet cable. It looks like it's shielded too. Then we do get the AC adapter providing power for the cable modem. And finally, the cable modem itself. So you can see it's just a standard black plastic, nothing fancy. It's not glossy either. So it looks like from the front. It has feet that were already installed as soon as I got it. Flip around to all the sides to give you kind of a look of it. Other than Netgear being on the side and some ventilation holes, I think that's pretty much it for each side. All the connectivity LEDs are here in the front, as well as 2 switches. The first one on the very top is a WPS button. Bless you. And the one next to that is the Wi-Fi on-off switch. You can turn Wi-Fi on or off. I actually find that very helpful in case you just want to shut the Wi-Fi off and don't want to have to worry about it being connectable. We have the power switch here, as well as what I think is the downstream light when you're connected to your coaxial line. And then we have the upstream button, or upstream LED. Then we have Internet Activity LED, as well as 2.4 gigahertz LED letting you know when the Wi-Fi is connected. We have network connection here on the LAN side, as well as the USB connection light, or activity light. Bring that around to the back to show you the rest of this particular cable modem. We have USB 2.0 port for sharing devices, as well as printers and the like, as well as hard drives or flash drives. And we have 2 of those gigabit Ethernet ports here on the back. allowing you to set up at least 2 different systems. Easily, though, you guys could get a switch or some other router that you could hook up to this and give yourself a little bit more connectivity than just these 2. So don't feel that you're stuck with that. Like most cable modems, that's what you'd do anyways. Coaxial input here, you'd screw that on when you install it. That's where the AC would plug in. And this little switch down here at the bottom is the power switch. And moving along, now we're on to the N450, and that full model number is actually N450-100NAS. It is an 802.11n gigabit format router as well, meaning that you are getting the N wireless as well as it being all the way up to 450 megabits per second, I should say. I believe it's a 3x3, which actually it has to be if it's 450. Moving right along, it does have the exact same compatibility with the different cable networks in the US, so keep that in mind. Other than that, there's nothing really different here, so I'm just going to flip it around to the side and show you guys a little bit more information here in terms of technical specs and security. Pretty much everything the same other than the fact that it's a 3x3. I believe everything else should be the same. It's still a firewall that includes SPI as well as NAT. But yeah, so let's go ahead and open it up and take a closer look. Okay, just like the other one, that's the exact same paperwork here. So you are getting that as well. You're getting an Ethernet cable. This one actually isn't shielded. I didn't realize they would have one better than another in different ones, but that's okay. So another Ethernet cable, as well as this AC power adapter that's going to provide power for this cable modem. As you can see, it looks very similar to the last cable modem, maybe a little bit taller though. I'll spin around to the front so you can get a view of that. And finally on the bottom, looks like it has a couple anchor points here in case you want to mount that to a wall. And this is probably removable, as I can. Yeah, it is. You can remove it by removing that screw. Okay, so let's look at the front of it together. We have the same WPS switch as well as the exact same button for the wireless to be turned on and off. That is a USB 2.0 port there, so you can share devices as well as hard drives and flash drives via that. Some LEDs down the line here. We have the power LED. It looks like downstream, upstream, internet connectivity and activity, as well as LANs 1 through 4 ports. So let me go ahead and show you those Gigabit Ethernet ports here on the back. There they are, 1 through 4. USB 2.0 reset switch, reset button I should say, the coaxial in for your cable, as well as the power here to power this particular device. And something I noticed on this one's a little bit easier to see, and that's just down here at the bottom, the Wi-Fi network SSID information and password, so in case you ever forget that, as well as the default access connection, the MAC information, and the serial number. And finally, we are on to the N600, model number C3700-100NAS. Now, this particular model is 802.11n, but it is dual band, which means being the fact that it's 2x2, you're getting 2x2 on the 2.4 and 2x2 on the 5 gigahertz bands, which bottom line just means you're going to get up to 600 megabits per second maximum theoretical throughput. So more throughput, download things faster, good. Once again, because it's cable internet based or it's Docsis based, you're going to have to deal with cable modems, which is fine, but just keep in mind that this is not going to work for DSL. Finally, the third time in a row I'm going to say it, guys. I'm going to spin this around to the side. You guys can take a closer look at the technical specs. Now, of course, this is Docsis 3 as I mentioned before, but more importantly, I wanted you just to see it without me having to verbally go through this. It is also, once again, double firewall protection, just meaning that you're getting a stateful packet inspection firewall as well as NAT. But other than that, let's go ahead and open this thing up and take a closer look. Okay, so just like the other two, we have the same paperwork inside, so I'm not going to take any time with that. Oh, look, these are shielded. So it looks like the C3000 and the C3700 both come with shielded Ethernet cables. That's nice. And then we have the AC adapter that's going to power the cable modem. Moving along to the cable modem itself, here it is. Looks just like the C3000 and not as big as the N450, so keep that in mind. But otherwise, they're all pretty much the same design. Something I forgot to mention with the C3000 is that all the information that you need in terms of setting up this router with your cable modem, or with your cable provider, I mean to say, is down here on the bottom with the MAC address and the like, as well as your default password and for your SSID, as well as your admin default passwords. So let me go ahead and put this back down again and then show you guys the very front, where I can go down the list of the LEDs and all the little switches here. So we have the WPS button here, the Wi-Fi on-off switch, followed by all the LED indicator lights here. First one's for power. This is downstream, this is upstream. This is internet connectivity, 2.4 gigahertz range as well as 5 gigahertz because this is dual band. Then we have the network connectivity, the LAN side connectivity, letting you know when your computers are connected to it, as well as USB activity, so when it's reading from the USB side. And onto the back here, we have the USB 2 port as well as 2 gigabit Ethernet ports, followed by the coaxial in that you're going to need to connect to your cable side to get the internet going through it, as well as the AC power plug and the power switch to turn this device on and off. Okay guys, that's going to wrap up this overview of Netgear's Wi-Fi routers / cable modems. If you guys liked what you saw today, don't forget to click the like button. And if you haven't already done so, click subscribe to any of our various YouTube channels. We'll see you guys very soon.